Welcome to the Monday, March 25th, 2024 Minnetonka City Council meeting. And I am standing in for our Mayor, Brad Wiersum, who's a little under the weather. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ms. Englund, please call roll.
Coakley.
Here.
Foster Bolton.
Here.
Shack.
Here.
Wilburn.
Here.
Calvert.
Here.
Ramaley.
Here.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is actually approval of the agenda. Mr. Funk, do we have any addenda?
Thank you, Acting Mayor Calvert. Haven't said that very often, so
One
Acting Mayor
time.
Calvert and Council, good evening. I do not have an addenda for other consideration, so the agenda in your packet is as presented. Thank you.
Can I get a motion on the agenda? Councilmember Shack,
Thank you, Mayor. I move approval of the agenda.
Councilmember Wilburn.
I second.
So, motion by Councilmember Shack, second by Councilmember Wilburn. Ms. Englund, please call roll.
Coakley.
Yes.
Foster Bolton.
Yes.
Shack.
Yes.
Wilburn.
Yes.
Calvert.
Yes.
Ramaley.
Yes.
Thank you. Next, we have 4 sets of meeting minutes. I'm going to read them, and if anybody has any changes or comments, you can bring them up after I read them. So, January 22nd, 2024 study session minutes, February 5th, 2024 study session minutes, February 26th, 2024 regular meeting minutes, and March 4th, 2024 regular meeting minutes. Are there any questions, comments, or can I get a motion? Councilmember Coakley?
I move to approve the minutes for January, February 5th, February 26th, and March 4th.
Councilmember Shack?
A second?
So motion by Councilmember Coakley, second by Councilmember Shack. Ms. Englund, please call roll.
Coakley.
Yes.
Foster Bolton.
Yes.
Shack.
Yes.
Wilburn.
Yes.
Calvert.
Yes.
Ramaley.
Yes.
Thank you. Next, we have special matters, and this is bittersweet because we are saying goodbye to 3 wonderful people who have served their community for quite a long time, and I've been very lucky that I actually served with Mr. Powers on the Planning Commission and Mr. Tyak on the EDAC, and Mr. Junker also on the EDAC. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read all of the wonderful things that we have prepared to say about you, and then I'm going to come and bring you a little gift, and then if there's anything that you would like to say, please do, and I'm sure we might have some things to say up here about you as well. And gosh, maybe I should do these one at a time. Yes. So, otherwise it would be very hard. All right, so this is about Charlie Junker, who served on the Minnetonka Economic Development Advisory Commission over the past 7 years, beginning in January 2016. Throughout his time on the EDAC, Charlie served as a member and later served as the EDAC chair and was involved in several projects, including the annual review and recommendations for the development account, HRA levy, and livable communities account through the Economic Improvement Program, or EIP, affordable housing and fair housing policies, affordable housing work plan, tax increment financing management plan, Cloud 9 Sky Flats housing improvement area, Shady Oak Road redevelopment, Country Road 101 redevelopment conversations, business development strategy, Opus redevelopment, including the Rise, Bren Road Station, Minnetonka Station, the Alcott Town Line, and Gray Star. Launch redevelopment conversations, Ridgedale area redevelopment projects, the Burke, Marsh 2, and Amira, Minnetonka, Cedar Hills refurbishment project, Southwest LRT and Metro Transit cooperative agreement, and new programs including rental assistance, homelessness assistance, COVID-19 relief programs, code compliance loan program, emergency business assistance, and pathways to home ownership. Charlie, on behalf of the City Council, your fellow EDAC members, and the Minnetonka residents you have represented over the years, thank you for your outstanding service. So this is, I'll come by the microphone. So this is a beautiful picture of the land right around city center. And this wood was reclaimed from a majestic American elm tree at Minnetonka Mills Park. Thank you so much. Sorry, it takes me a second because I got the word about the mayor at the very last minute. So this is for Steve Tyak, who I also served with on the EDAC. And Steve served on the Minnetonka Economic Development Advisory Commission over the past 3 years, beginning in January 2020. So a tough time to get started on any kind of commission. Throughout his time on the EDAC, Steve was involved in several projects, including the annual review and recommendations for the development account, HRA levy, and livable communities account through the Economic Improvement Program, or EIP, affordable housing work plan, tax increment financing management plan, Shady Oak Road development, business development strategy, Opus redevelopment, the Rise, Bren Road Station, Minnetonka Station, the Alcott Town Line, and Gray Star, Ridgedale area redevelopment projects including the Burke, Marsh 2, and Amira, Minnetonka, Cedar Hills refurbishment project, Southwest LRT, and Metro Transit cooperative agreement, and new programs including rental assistance, homelessness assistance, COVID-19 relief programs, code compliance loan program, emergency business assistance, and pathways to home ownership. Steve, on behalf of the City Council, your fellow EDAC members, and the Minnetonka residents you have represented over the past 3 years, thank you so much for your outstanding service. We'll miss you.
I'd like to thank the acting mayor, Calvert, and members of the council for this opportunity, and I really did enjoy it, and I learned a great deal about the city of Minnetonka and the city government process. Thank you.
So next is for Planning Commissioner John Powers, who was appointed to serve on the Planning Commission beginning on October 12, 2015. John served 4 two-year terms and 4 additional months by filling a midterm vacancy. To date, John is the city's longest-serving planning commissioner. During John's tenure, he attended nearly 150 commission meetings and reviewed approximately 1,000 land use applications. The project reviews are many, including residential and commercial development in the Ridgedale I-394 area and Opus, residential home variances and conditional use permits, numerous ordinance changes, and the comprehensive plan update. Since 2015, the developments he reviewed while on the commission resulted in the creation of 3,720 rental housing units and 340 single-unit households. John approached all agenda items with a keen sense of doing right for the community. His comments were always genuine and with an interest in making Minnetonka a better place. John, on behalf of the City Council, fellow Planning Commission members, and the Minnetonka residents you represented, thank you for your outstanding service to the City of Minnetonka.
Thank you, sir. COVID or no COVID, we don't care. We don't care about no stinking COVID. Thank you. Thank you so much. Can I just say a couple of things?
Yes, please.
I just wanted to say a couple of things. When I was a young boy growing up in South Minneapolis, in Tangletown area, I always wondered how it was that things were as they were. Why the barber shop was next to the bakery, and why the house was next to the gas station, and things of that nature. And I just thought, in 2015, going forward now a few years, the Mayor Schneider called me and said, would I be on the Planning Commission? And I said yes, and my wife and son said yes. And now I know a little bit more about how it is that a city like Minnetonka, which is so well governed, I think we can all be so proud of it. You know, there's something like 28 square miles of Minnetonka, and there's 54,000 people, so I'll let you do the math and figure out that's pretty slim pickings compared to the rest of the world. But we're pretty well governed, and so I want to just thank everybody for allowing me to, this is the high point of my adult life, and you've all made that happen for me, so thank you so much.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to make a comment. You know, we couldn't do the work that we do without the hard work of these resident volunteers who are very smart. Both the Planning Commission and the EDAC require a lot of technical skills and thoughtfulness, and these 3 guys exemplify what we look for in members of these volunteer commissions. And so I know John a lot better than I know the EDAC folks, but I really appreciate you, and it's been nice to get to know you over the years. And John, I haven't known the city of Minnetonka in this capacity without you here. So anybody who's ever watched John at a planning commission knows that he's always got thoughtful and unique remarks for developers and staff and his fellow planning commissioners. So you will all 3 be very missed. But thank you so much for your commitment to Minnetonka.
Thank you, Councilmember Shack, and I just want to say that I agree with what you said. You learn a lot from being on a commission, but we really couldn't do this without you. And one of the reasons I wanted to be the liaison to the EDAC is because I wanted to learn more about how things like housing was financed. And I have to say that the intelligence and the expertise of the commissioners on the EDAC, especially the 2 sitting here tonight, the questions that they ask, the observations that they make, are so invaluable and really helped me learn in those meetings for EDAC, and then I felt so much better prepared coming to City Council after you had explored some of the more difficult ideas. And I have to say that for Commissioner Powers, he was kind of my go-to if there was a really difficult project. I would always call him up and kind of noodle through things. He was always very clear-eyed about what he was trying to find out and make comments about. So it's actually hard to show up and do those meetings. These are truly unpaid volunteers, but they bring a great deal of expertise. So I'm just so grateful for all of the time that you've spent and for your wisdom. So thank you very much for all your service to the city. Anybody else? Okay. All right. So next on the agenda is reports from city manager and council members. Mr. Funk.
Thank you again, Acting Mayor and Council. Good evening. I missed the recognition on March 4th council meeting of our annual Citizens Academy, and I just want to take a moment to say thank you again on behalf of myself and our staff. We do this historically every other year. Generally in the odd years, we did do it again in 2024, and it's really our goal to keep doing it annually, because the more people that we can have exposure with and really teach residents everything about our city government, the better. And provided we get strong numbers every year, we plan to do it. And really had a good group again this year. I know you met some of them here on March 4th. And again, just want to say thank you for their participation. We'll plan to do it again in 2025. Moving on, the city has been partnering with, or a closer partnership with, both the Minneapolis Regional Chamber and again the Wayzata Area Chamber. And I think I alluded to that here at a recent meeting. The first Minnetonka Business Council meeting in partnership with the Wayzata Chamber is this Wednesday, March 27th. It's from 7:30 a.m. to 9 o'clock at the Carlson Tower Training Room, which is located at 601. So that is a registration event, and from last I heard from the Wayzata Chamber, there are over 30 participants registered. We do have 2,200 businesses in this city, and between that, these businesses can either choose between the Wayzata Area Chamber or also the Minneapolis Regional Chamber. So we do have those partnerships. We look forward to those business meetings occurring with our partners this year. This is the first, and the rest of the three are quarterly throughout the rest of the year. So we encourage anyone to attend those. The other event coming up this week is the State of the City's Leadership Luncheon, which is also this Thursday, March 28th, is held at the Wayzata Country Club from 11:30 a.m. to 1 o'clock. That's also a registration event. The mayors from Minnetonka, so our own Brad Wiersum, the Wayzata mayor, the Plymouth mayor, and Long Lake mayors are participating in that event, and I know there's folks interested in hearing more of the state of the region, in essence, from those different mayors. And again, anyone is welcome to attend, and there is a registration online for that event. Then last, I just want to mention an important partnership that we have with all of our school districts. We do have multiple school districts in our community, and those partnerships are vital. One of those partnerships evolved into a training this last week with the Minnetonka School District. And it was an effort led by the I Love You Guys Foundation, and it specialized in school security training. And so the school district, Minnetonka School District, in partnership with our Minnetonka Police, our fire, and our communication staff, took part in a 2-day training session. And so it's certainly an important training as they look at staging family reunification in the midst of a crisis. So we're certainly, with all of our partners, looking to do more training together in just preparation for anything that might unfortunately happen. So that's part of our preparation awareness, and want to make everyone aware that those efforts are always ongoing. So with that, Acting Mayor, I turn it back over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Funk. Any reports from City Council? Councilmember Shack.
Thank you. Just a few things. First, the State of the City event happened since we last met, and it was an excellent event. well done by staff, our mayor, and also really enjoyed the format where local business owners and leaders were able to come and share either, their goods in serving some great food, or a little bit about their role in the community of Minnetonka as various size businesses. So that was very cool. I'm sure it's still available to be streamed online if anybody is interested. So I appreciate that, and I think it really highlighted our city very well. Also had the opportunity to attend the Staff Appreciation Luncheon and Awards banquet, I guess. Was excellent. Another very well done event. The communication staff put together some really cool videos, and I just wanted to, I think near and dear to our hearts here at the council is the Spirit of Minnetonka. The highest honor you can receive in Minnetonka was given to one of the IT folks that helps us every day, and I think is here tonight, Jeff Dulac. Very, very well deserved, and we're so proud of him. And when I saw his name come up, I was like, oh yeah, perfect. And everybody who gets that award is very well deserving of it, but we have a close tie to Jeff here, so that was very neat to see. Thanks, staff, for that, and we appreciate you very much, and that was a nice opportunity to see what goes on internally.
Anyone else? Councilmember Romali?
Yes, also since our last meeting, most of the council, I think all of the council, attended the National League of Cities Conference, which was a fantastic opportunity, especially for new council members like myself, to meet with our counterparts throughout the country, as well as throughout the city, go to panels and learn about everything from funding sources to how other cities are doing policing, to meeting our congressional representatives, and much, much more. So it was a really valuable experience. It was very busy, and lots of sessions and lots of learning that went on, and I thoroughly enjoyed it and appreciated it. I'm grateful for the opportunity to have attended.
Councilmember Coakley.
Yeah, so thank you, Deb. So I had went to the Metro Council State of the Union, and I really want to say I really appreciated that event because I learned so much more about what Metro Council does. I didn't realize that they do so much, so I learned that they work with housing, transportation, water. I mean, just all the different things I learned about what they were doing. I was like, wow, I didn't know how much they did. So I was really excited about that, and then also to learn that Mr. Carter, which is Tyrone Carter, who's in my ward, is serving, which I knew he was serving, but didn't realize like how much work that he does and how much he's learning as well. And so I was really excited about that, and it helped me connect the dots a little bit more. And so just by going to that event, and now I'm like, okay, now I have someone I can really talk to about different things that impacts our cities, and so I'm excited about that. Thank you.
Anyone else? So I'm just going to say a few words. I got COVID from a gentleman on the plane on the way to Washington, D.C. to the National League of Cities. I know exactly who it was.
Exactly? Oh.
And it was a wonderful conference, and it's just such an honor to be able to go because you learn so much. We got to hear from anyone from the President of the United States to Henry Cisneros to the Labor Secretary to Doris Kearns Goodwin, who was exceedingly wise. We need more women like her in the world. And it was just a wonderful opportunity to learn about, like Councilmember Romali said, funding sources, which we have in abundance right now for many different kinds of projects, and I serve on the Energy, Environment, and Natural Resources Committee with Councilmember Wilburn. And, you know, we heard, I think, from 4 different speakers on a variety of topics that were talking so fast I couldn't even type fast enough to take all the notes. But because I did get COVID when I returned, I missed all of the wonderful city events, the staff appreciation luncheon and the State of the City, but I watched the State of the City, and I just want to say it looked very well received, and it just highlights again what a well-run city we are. And the staff appreciation lunch, which is one of my favorite events of the year, I was so sorry to miss it because we wouldn't be the city we are without the wonderful staff members that we have that are sitting in the room tonight. And Jeff Dulock, who is the IT person who won the Spirit of Minnetonka, seriously bails us out kind of on a daily basis. So always with a smile, never impatient, even though some of us are Luddites and should be able to do some of these things on our own. So I just want to thank staff, as always, for their wonderful work, and make my apologies for not being able to be there. So I think that's all we have for reports from the city manager and council members. There is, the next thing on the agenda is citizens wishing to discuss matters not on the agenda. So this is for items that are not on the agenda, and if anyone has anything that they wish to discuss, please come up to the microphone and give us your name and address.
Good evening, council members and acting mayor. I'm Kevin Ringhofer. I live at 2200 Indian Road West. And at the last regular council meeting, which was on March 4th, I was here when the Woodhaven project on Plymouth Road was approved. And I just want to offer some reflections on the process of that. I mean, it seemed very straightforward. It was presented by City Planner Gordon very thoroughly. There was a brief presentation by the developer. There were some citizens' concerns and about traffic that got discussed. And then there were council member questions and comments, and then it was voted and approved. I think all of that took about an hour, and in the time that I've been observing city council meetings, I don't think I've ever seen a project move through that quickly, but they could have. During the council member questions and comments, Council Member Foster Bolton made the comment about wanting Minnetonka to be a welcoming place and affordable, which was part of the mission and vision of Minnetonka. Others talked about the ease of which this project was approved, that it was approved easier than other projects. Councilmember Wilburn talked about being concerned about affordability and that we would be looking into zoning, but no variances were requested, and that was affirming what Councilmember Ramele had said. There were no variances. So I reflected on this process. It was just, okay. Well, approving the process was easy. It was almost like you could not approve it. There was no reason not to approve it. But what I learned the week before about zoning that bothered me is that from its origins, the part of the function of zoning was to keep people out, to maintain racial segregation, and that it succeeded in fulfilling that purpose as racial covenants became unenforceable and outlawed. And as elsewhere, zoning has served in the same way in Minnetonka, hence the significant racial disparity that we have in housing in Minnetonka, especially for home ownership. My conclusion, Minnetonka has had and has a system where it is easy to approve a project like Woodhaven. Big lots, big homes, save the trees. And I'm all for saving the trees, but that seems to be a focus. But it's not for affordable home ownership projects. And 75%, I believe, roughly of Minnetonka is zoned residential R1. As zoning review moves forward, I think it's also important to look at the processes needed to produce affordable housing. How do the processes need to change? We say we want diversity in housing in Minnetonka, but are we getting it? Yet, and again, so much is zoned R1, there needs to be more options. Maybe more options to create affordable housing in R1, maybe make churches and all other properties something other than R1 so that affordable housing is possible, at least in those areas. But I'm certainly no expert in zoning, but I encourage you as you review zoning to think big, to think outside the box, be bold and be radical. I believe this city council has not only the opportunity, but the heart, the desire, and the will to make such changes that are needed to make Minnetonka more unique, more welcoming to more people, as well as more affordable and more diverse. And there are people to back you. Thank you. Thanks for the work you do.
Thank you, Mr. Ringhofer. Anyone else? Please state your name and your address.
Angela Marrera, 5554 Nantucket Place. I'd like to describe to you an experience I had yesterday in Purgatory Park. It has to do also with the current leash law in Minnetonka. While I was walking my dog on leash at Purgatory Park, which happens to be my neighborhood park, which I visit frequently, to walk not only the main trail, but also to access the library, the Scenic Heights School, its playground, and its sledding hill. Yesterday, the whole family was excited because of the snow. And when my daughter heard that her friends were at the Scenic Heights sledding hill, we decided to walk there by way of the park. I thought that I'd bring the dog on a leash and walk a short loop in the school forest, and then go up on the surrounding hill in Purgatory Park while they went sledding. I saw many dogs in the off-leash area near the middle of the park, which is not uncommon. I warily kept watch to avoid interactions to the best of my ability. I even at one point reversed course, trying to avoid an interaction at a pinch point near the Southern Creek Bridge. Just as I started back towards the main trail, a woman yelled, "Lulu!" But instead of running to its owner, the dog ran like a bullet towards my dog. There was barely time for me to react. The dog ran from the inside dog trail all the way across the main trail directly into my path. I screamed for the lady to call her dog, but the dog crashed into us. A dog fight broke out between our dogs. I threw her dog off as best I could and fell on the ground in the process. Luckily, I kept tight on the leash of my dog because it was wrapped around my wrist. The dog kept attacking and circling me and my dog. At that time, the lady had finally arrived, but she had no luck retrieving her dog as it wasn't listening. She kept circling as well, around me, and trying to call her dog, which could not be retrieved. At that point, I told her, why can't you call your dog? She said, you need to calm down. I said, I'm sorry, but that's not good enough. I need you to get your dog. She said, oh, she knows. After what seemed like an eternity, she was finally able to leash her dog and walked away without inquiring as to injuries or showing any further concern. I called the police and reported this incident. The response of the police officer was of sympathy, but nothing could really be done without a change in the ordinance. He admitted they received many calls about dog incidents in the park system. He was thankful that at least of late, there haven't been many bites. I asked what I could do to protect myself. He said, try not to show fear. Don't cower. Don't get in between the dogs. He was at a loss of what else to do. I'm completely disgusted with the number of incidents that I encounter frequently as to uncontrolled dogs with the park environs as well as surrounding communities. I'm exasperated as to how many more incidents I or anyone else must endure to get this taken seriously. You could say that I'm just unlucky, but I would argue that my experiences are a function of basic probability and statistics. I have tallied between 60 and 90 dog owners not complying with the current leash ordinance each month for the past 2 months on daily 45-minute walks. So it's only a matter of time before another incident like this occurs. I need to know what your tipping point is to address this public safety issue. How many injuries? How many? Give me a number. How many incidents? Tell me. I need to know so I don't keep bothering and wasting my time. How many months does the park board need to ask about addressing this ordinance before something happens, before we address this? I implore you to answer me with data, because I deserve that as a citizen. And I deserve some respect. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, and can staff get back?
Yes, if I can, Acting Mayor and Council, just a couple comments, I think for your benefit and for those that just spoke and for anyone that might be listening. Just going back to our first speaker, just with the zoning comments, we do have in our April study session a report from staff along with our consultant ZoneCo. This is a project that's been initiated now for 6+ months in the city, so we have hired a consultant to do that deep analysis of our zoning code. So that work is ongoing, and Council, you will receive that information and report in that April study session. As it relates to the current speaker, I just would remind everyone that the Planning Commission is in this process of looking at the Purgatory Park Purgatory Park Master Plan. And so the Park Board, did I say Planning Commission? Let me rephrase that. Park Board has been studying this issue, and that's just part of the Purgatory Park master planning process. And so at some point, we anticipate as staff that there'll be recommendations coming to the council, likely in June. That's what it's scheduled for. We are looking as staff just at interim solutions, and I think that's why we are studying this issue, is that there have been ongoing concerns between in our parks with our current ordinance. We understand that it's tough to enforce given its current language, and more of that work is forthcoming, and we look to have a deeper dive conversation and look for problem solving and solutions in the coming months. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Funk. Anyone else?
Good evening, members, City Council members, Acting Mayor. My name is Eric Morera. I also live at 5554 Nantucket Place. For some context, that's on the northeast corner of Purgatory Park, on the side where many of the dogs currently off leash generally congregate, because that's where most of them are. I did prepare something. So I believe the current off-leash ordinance just no longer works. I believe all the visitors to the city parks should have a safe experience, and as it currently stands, they are not. According to the Purgatory Park Master Plan Survey, of which we have been going to the last 4 meetings, I think, and have read the contents of it, 43% of the respondents of the Purgatory Park Master Plan survey said that they felt it was a safety concern for the off-leash dogs were a safety concern. There were comments from citizens at the park board meetings that said the survey must have been skewed, that it does not accurately represent the visitors of Purgatory Park, and that there were the people who felt unsafe were the exception to the rule. They made comments that all of the off-leash people never saw any dangers whatsoever, they never saw any issues. Well, I guess I would say how many exceptions need to be bitten, harassed, or scared by uncontrolled dogs? How many exceptions need to have uncontrolled dogs running through their yards, strangers walking through their yards looking for their dog, or having dead animals in their backyards from the dogs that were supposed to be under voice command? According to the police public website, there were 67 animal complaints from 2020 to 2023 in Purgatory Park alone. and that does not include any neighboring properties. This is not specific to Purgatory Park either. It's also at Jadana, Lone Lake, and Big Willow Parks. Even the police department has said there is an issue. During the February 2023 Park Board meeting, former CSO officer of 20-plus years and now crime prevention specialist Deanne Bloom spoke of how the current ordinance does not hold up in court. The owners know that if they contest the ticket, it will be thrown out because current ordinance is too vague. Rachel Meehan, captain of Police Patrol Services, also had this to say to me in an email reply. We agree with you that there is an issue with dogs off leash in and around Purgatory Park and with people not following the rules. Unfortunately, we do have trouble with enforcement of the leash laws in Purgatory Park. Part of the issue is that within the park, there are places where no dogs are allowed, places where leashed dogs are allowed, and places where dogs are allowed off leash. In addition, when our community service officers have written citations in the past, the judge has dismissed them, stating that the rules are confusing and there is not enough signage to show that people would know what the rules are. As it stands right now, it sounds like our own police cannot do their job because of an outdated ordinance. My wife and I have already stood before the park board to bring these issues to their attention. We have been patiently waiting to try and resolve this through the Purgatory Park master plan meetings, but comments have been made that it is a city council issue. Right now, off-leash park visitors' desires are coming before public safety. Any desire of a park visitor should not take precedence over visitors' safety. I believe the ordinance should be changed to something more similar to our neighboring cities, which is all dogs must be on a leash except within city designated areas. What that would allow for is immediate ability for the patrols to do their jobs. And for those wishing to have their dogs off leash, it would then be now on the side of the park board and anyone else to decide what those city locations could be. I appreciate you hopefully taking a look at this, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right. Well, thank you for your comments tonight. And as Mr. Funk was saying, we'll be taking up these issues in upcoming meetings. So an ordinance is separate from a master plan. So just to make sure that people understand, a park master plan does have a lot to do with park board, and ordinances are things that the city council has to study. So we'll be studying it yet this year. All right, so that's it for.
Excuse me, can I say something? I don't know if, can I say?
Sure, go ahead.
Thank you, Deb. I just want to acknowledge Angela, a resident, because we didn't no one acknowledge her pain and her hurt and suffering that happened in Purgatory Park with the dog. I mean, she was distraught up here at the counter, and I just wanted to acknowledge that for her. I heard you, I acknowledge you, I see you, and I just want you to know that I do understand, and I'm taking it very serious, and I know the city is too, but I heard you, so I'm sorry that that happened to you.
Thank you, Councilmember Coakley, and I feel the same way, which is why I took, generally, it's not an exchange when you do this agenda item. I'm also not the normal, I'm just the acting mayor, so it's a little bit different scenario for me than it normally is. But that's why I took the time to allow Mr. Funk to explain a little bit about the process. And I am very sorry that happened to you, but I just wanted people to understand the process a little bit. So thank you, Mr. Funk, for taking the time to explain what's going to happen, and hopefully come to some kind of resolution that's acceptable to our residents. And as a dog owner, I understand how upsetting that can be. So now we have bids and purchases, and we have one agenda item under bids and purchases, and I believe this is Mr. Manchester.
Thank you, Acting Mayor Calvert and Council. Before you tonight are bids for the Wayzata Boulevard Improvements Project. So on January 29, 2023, the City Council adopted a resolution accepting plans and specs and then authorized the ad for bids for the project. The project is located on Wayzata Boulevard between Cheshire Lane and Plymouth Road. It includes a mill and overlay, concrete curb and gutter, sidewalk replacement, pedestrian ramp upgrades, trail replacement, and then utility replacement and storm sewer repairs. Wayzata Boulevard is designated as a municipal state aid route, so it does follow state aid regulation and rules related to that, including state prevailing wage rates. So bids were opened on March 1st, 2024. For the project, we did receive 7 bids. GMH Asphalt Corporation is the low bidder in this situation, and they have completed work in Minnetonka in previous years. If the recommended actions are approved by council, construction would begin in the spring and be completed in the fall. And then in line with other city projects, we would continue to use our different avenues for communication strategies, including signage, text alerts, emails, and newsletters. So with that, we'll turn it back to Mayor Calvert with 2 recommended actions: a motion to award the contract for Wayzata Boulevard improvement projects to GMH Asphalt Corporation in the amount of $928,582.85, as well as authorize the city engineer to expend the allocated funds for the project, provided the project cost do not exceed the budget of $1.4 million. So I'll turn it back to Mayor Calvert for any questions. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Manchester. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Manchester? Any comments? I'll take a motion. Councilmember Coakley.
I did have some comments earlier. I talked to Mike about it. I had some questions. I had questions about the contract being given to the lowest bidder. He explained to me that it's a state law that we need to acknowledge the lowest bidder, and if the lowest bidder hasn't had any problems and they do good work and we've used them before in the past, it is a state law. Because I was questioning, do we ever give any other companies opportunities to do the same work? And I asked him if they matched the bid, is that something that we could do? And he explained to me in some bids that we do that, but not in this particular project. And so I just wanted to say that I do approve of it, but I just wanted to know why we continue to give projects to the lowest bidder. And he explained it well, and I understood it. So I just wanted to say that because it's, I don't know, it seems like we could do something different, but if that's what the state law states, then I guess that's what it is. So, yeah, thank you.
Can I get a motion?
Oh, go ahead, Kimberly. Yeah.
I move that we award the contract for the Wayzata Boulevard Improvements Project to GMH Asphalt Corporation in the amount of $928,582.85, and authorize the city engineer to expend the allocated funds for project cost without further council approval, provided the total project cost do not exceed the project budget of $1.4 million.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Motion by Councilmember Wilburn, second by Councilmember Romali. Ms. Englund, please call roll.
Coakley,
Yes.
Foster Bolton,
Yes.
Shack,
Yes.
Wilburn,
Yes.
Calvert,
Yes.
Romali.
Yes.
Motion passes. So next on the agenda is consent agenda items requiring 4 votes or a majority vote, and these are items of a routine nature. And the way it'll work is I will read each of the items into the record, but if anyone here on the dais or out in the audience would like to pull any of the items after I read the items, please just let me know. We'll take a vote on the remaining items, and then we can discuss the item that is pulled. So, consent agenda item 10A is agreement for Lake Holiday, Wing Lake, and Lake Rose Water Quality Improvement Project. 10B is resolution for the water meter replacement project. 10C is the preliminary and final plat of Linner Woods, 3rd edition, a plat amendment for 1903 and 1906 Linner Woods Court and 1904 Linner Road. And 10D is a resolution appointing election judges and absentee ballot board for the April 30th, 2024 special primary and May 14th, 2024 special general Hennepin Commissioner District 6 election. Does anybody have any items they'd like to pull? Councilmember Shack.
Thank you, Mayor. I move approval of consent agenda items 10A, B, C, and D.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
So motion by Councilmember Shack, second by Councilmember Romali. Ms. Englund, please call roll.
Coakley,
Yes.
Foster Bolton,
Yes.
Shack,
Yes.
Wilburn,
Yes.
Calvert,
Yes.
Rameli.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes. Next on the agenda is consent agenda items requiring 5 votes. And we have one item, and the same principle guides us here. So I'll read the item, and if anyone wants to pull it to discuss, just let me know. The item is 11A, Fire Station Alerting Project Budget Amendment. Seeing no comments, can I get a motion? Councilmember Wilburn.
I move approval of consent agenda item 11A.
Second. Councilmember Coakley.
I second.
So motion by Councilmember Wilburn, second by Councilmember Coakley. Ms. Englund, please call roll.
Coakley,
Yes.
Foster Bolton,
Yes.
Shack,
Yes.
Wilburn,
Yes.
Calvert,
Yes.
Rameli.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes. Next on the agenda is introduction of ordinances. We have none. Item 13 is public hearings. Again, we have none. Item 14 is other business. We have none. And item 15A is appointments and reappointments, and we do have one item, which is appointment of advisors for the 2024 Local Board of Appeal and Equalization, and I believe this is Mr. Nelson.
Yep. Good evening, Acting Mayor Calvert and council members. Yes, before each night is the appointment of the local advisors that help us out with the Local Board of Appeal and Equalization process that will be coming up in April. So staff is recommending 3 advisors tonight, and those advisors are all residents of Minnetonka and our real estate agents in the area as well too. So we appreciate their assistance and helping us come up with kind of a third-party independent review of our appeal processes on that end of it. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions, and I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Nelson. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Nelson? If not, I'll take a motion. Councilmember Shack.
Thank you, Mayor. And I will just say how integral these volunteers are to the work that we do. And so we're very grateful to have them willing to volunteer. But I will make the motion to approve the appointment of Mia Beardsley, Ambrosia Severson, and Keith Swanson to the advisors for the 2024 Minnetonka Local Board of Appeal and Equalization.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. So motion by Councilmember Shack, second by Councilmember Rameli. Ms. Englund, please call roll.
Coakley,
Yes.
Foster Bolton,
Yes.
Shack,
Yes.
Wilburn,
Yes.
Calvert,
Yes.
Rameli.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes, and I echo Councilmember Shack's comments. Thank you for the service of our new board members for the Local Board of Appeal and Equalization. And now for the moment we've all been waiting for, the last agenda item, which is adjournment. Councilmember Wilburn.
I move adjournment.
Second.
I second. Sorry.
Thank you, Councilmember Foster Bolton. So motion by Councilmember Wilburn, second by Councilmember Foster Bolton. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.